Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Automated. This is a very interesting episode. It sort of follows well to our last episode where we introduced the automation COE blueprint, which is effectively a strategy and a set of guidance and tools available for organizations to scale RPA or other hyper automation scenarios with Power Automate in their organization. And today, I'm joined with my fellow colleagues from the product group, where we'll talk you some of the investments that we have made in the migration space to help customers migrate from other RPA vendors to Power Automate as well. So, to kick this off, I'd like to sort of welcome my colleagues to the show. So, hello, Rakesh, Akansha, and James. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Perfect. Thank you, Pranav. I'll go first. So my name's Akansha. I work in the Power Customer Advisory team focused on enabling scale programs. And we're very excited to bring several resources from our engineering team over to your organization that can help you really adopt the technology very quickly.
I'm Rakesh. I'm a PM on the Power Automate product team. I'm very excited to share what we have with you today on the migration approaches.
Hello, everyone. I'm James. I'm also product manager from the Power Automate team. And I'm as well really excited to show you what we have created for our friends and community.
In fact, James is joining us from Greece. It's one of my top places to go in the bucket list. How's the weather over there, James? I hear it's cold.
It's really nice right now, actually, because we are going towards spring. So I can say that it gets better every day. We get some cold every now and then. I believe you saw what happened with the snow falling a couple of weeks back. But okay, we're back on our feet. We're not really that much used in snow, here in Athens. So it was an experience.
Cool. All right, let's get started. Akansha, do you want to introduce the topic for today?
Sounds good. So today we will be covering and sharing with you what is Microsoft's perspective on RPA migration. So we are extremely excited to be entering the robotics process automation market, and we really believe we have a very strong technology to help you not only activate automation through RPA, but also DPA, digital process automation, and really bring your hyper automation story to life. But you will have extremely large existing automation technologies in your company, which are helping you achieve certain processes that are quickly automated or that are quickly able to go from point A to point B. But you are looking for that next level of scale. You are looking for bringing in the technology that can help quickly change and quickly meet the needs of the business users as well. So migration is a very key component that we have seen at a lot of our current set of customers, and we believe that a systematic approach to migration is also something that will be beneficial to you as you approach this RPA journey. So for this, we have a white paper that we have released, and we also have a migration toolkit which we have released specifically for our ProDev partner audience to take and extend this code packet in order to really build a full-fledged migration toolkit that will be in a SaaS form that can be activated in your organization. In order to walk through the white paper and understand what's available in the guidance, I will now hand it over to my colleague Rakesh, who will walk you through what's available.
Thank you, Akansha. Hi, folks. So as Akansha was mentioning, right, many of you are probably considering whether to move to a different automation platform and all. So the first thing I want to highlight is, so Power Automate has been recognized as the leader in the industry, both by Forrester and Gartner, as in both their digital process automation as well as the robotic process automation evaluations they have come out of late. So we're truly a leader in this space, and we believe that the level of integration and the market competence that we bring is unique in this market. So I want to touch upon a few things that talk about why you would need to migrate to Power Automate. So I think the first thing is really Power Automate is the only low-code platform that helps you build automations at scale. So we are a cloud first company, and the entire product suite is built on the planet scale of Azure. And not only that, it provides deep integrations into not only Office 365 and other Azure services, but also to a whole lot of third party services that are available through our connector and ecosystem platforms. So it really helps accelerate the time to value for your for your users within your organization, and it really helps infuse these components with low code and no code approach to infuse AI into this automation as well. So we have something called AI Builder in the product suite that helps you bring the latest in text classification, image recognition, etc. to automation platform. So all in all, as you think about your digital transformation journey, we believe that Power Automate is best suited to help you in this journey, irrespective of where you are in your journey, whether you are completely on-prem or completely on the cloud or somewhere in between, or whether you are using a mix of legacy or modern applications. We have the toolkit to make sure that you are successful no matter what your circumstances are. So that's why we truly believe that moving to Power Automate would really help you set up for success as you go through your digital transformation journey. Now, with that, obviously, change can be a hard thing, especially as you think of switching platforms. So, what we have done with this white paper that we put out is essentially build out a toolkit that helps business leaders and decision makers evaluate what are the key considerations you got to keep in mind as you think about making this change, right? Because it involves both a technology change, but also a process and a people change. So hopefully the toolkit that we developed, and as well as the guidances and the best practices we have articulated, helps you in that journey. And at the end, we will be sharing a few more additional examples of how you could actually leverage some of these. So when we think about how you plan for migration, right? I think we want to start with the key business outcomes that you want to drive. There are multiple things that may be causing you to migrate. Maybe your existing automation vendor licenses are due to expire, or you are making a broad-based journey to a wider cloud adoption, or you are kind of modernizing parts of your enterprise starting from one place. Irrespective of where you are, it's so Power Automate helps you make the transition seamless. So as you're thinking about this transformation, the first thing that you want to assess is the application level assessment. Essentially, what that means is that you take a look at your current automation estate and see what are the applications these automations are touching. Are they primarily on-prem? Are they running on the cloud, or are they applications for which you have APIs available, right? Because depending on what the application is and what type of process it's being currently used, we have different ways of helping you modernize them. So once you have that mapped out, it really helps you plan ahead for what is next. For example, if you are primarily using web-based application, automating web-based applications that don't have APIs, then really desktop automation and really using PAD to automate those tasks is really your best bet. Whereas on the other hand, you are using an ERP like Salesforce or Dynamics 365 to integrate with Office applications, right? Then Power Automate has a whole set of connectors to all these first-party as well as third-party systems that helps you build automations without actually writing code. You can just use drag and drop approaches to just really build automations in minutes, really enabling your business people and your non-developers to build automations, right? And once you have that application assessment figured out and figuring out where to go, what to do with your current real estate, automation real estate, Then you have to evaluate it from a security and governance perspective of how you will manage this one. So the great advantage that Power Automate brings is that uh, from a governance perspective, we bring a platform view. What that means is that you have a single pane of glass to kind of govern your apps, your automations, your chatbots, etc. And in fact, I'll hand it over to Pranav to speak a little bit about the some of the investments and the approaches we have made in this recent space about helping customers adopt the best practices with respect to automation governance.
Thanks, Rakesh. I think you do bring up sort of good points on how sort of Power Automate can help you modernize your existing RPA applications, right? Like, it's all you can have different options available for the technology choice that you want to make. It doesn't have to be UI based or API based. It can be a mix of both, and it's a single platform. And to that extent, like we've published a lot of guidance around, what is the role of an automation COE. Often enough, people think it's an island that lives within IT or somewhere else, but effectively what we see is it's a team sport across IT and business, where a lot of key stakeholders come together to define what is the goal of the automation C program, how do you measure success, how do you track ROI, and what are the different roles that the COE team plays, and how do you scale this automation program across the organization. So we have guidance available, we have white papers available, we also have some toolkits available that can help you scale your automation program in your organization. And the migration work sort of fits in nicely itself, like as you're moving away from one vendor to the other, these tools and guidance around migration can help you sort of port over your automation to the new platform, and then you can use this guidance that we are showing over here to set up your sort of COE strategy and governance at scale as well.
Thank you, Pranav. Actually, that's a great segue to the last point I want to touch, because essentially we believe that every organization is different. Everyone has their own unique circumstances and unique place in their journey to the completely transforming enterprise, right? So with that in mind, we have taken the same open approach to migration as well, right? So there are multiple ways in which you can go about doing the migration. And as I mentioned earlier, right, it's really a function of where you are currently on your journey, what's your application footprint is looking like, where your future investments are going to be. That's actually going to determine how you go about migration. So at a very high level, right, there are two ways in which you can go about it. So the first one, I think both Pranav and I touched upon, is really a hybrid approach, right? Looking at what your application is currently doing. Are they modern? Are they legacy? Are they running on-prem? Are they running on the cloud? Are you in the process of migrating some of them to the cloud? Are you thinking of deprecating some of them, right? Depending on your answers to these questions, what usually happens is that it really brings a completely a transformational approach to moving your automation onto Power Automate. For example, let's say you are currently having a large invoice process that is running on SAP, that is running on some AI toolkit to infer the details of the invoice, and that in turn interacts with the SAP system, which let's say interacts with another system in Azure or another ERP like in Salesforce. Today, you might be currently doing all of that process through UI automation through one of the existing vendors. But when you look at how you truly see your enterprise a few years down the line, you need to think about how we can modernize it, right? For example, in those places where you have APIs, and wherever, in many cases where you have APIs, we have connectors, which is essentially a wrapper of APIs that helps you build automations without writing code, right? So, for example, if your system is touching Salesforce, if your system is touching Azure, some Azure services, right? We have connectors to all this to interact to make sure your automation works with those applications without writing code. For this, you have a cloud-based approach, basically digital process automation to do it. Now, same with how you interact with your Office application, whether it's Outlook, SharePoint, or Teams, wherever, or seamlessly integrating in approvals into your process. It's the same approach. But at the same time, that's very same process, the where you are using the modern applications or modern systems, might be interacting. The next step or one of the steps in that journey could be touching a legacy application for which you don't have an API for. It could be an SAP system for which there's no APIs, or it could be a custom homegrown application that you have built, either a web-based or a UX-based, right? So there you would use Power Automate Desktop and or RPA desktop flows to use RPA to automate that part of your automation estate, but then seamlessly integrate into your wider pool. So essentially, that really helps you look at what's the best in each case and lets you pick the right tool and bring it all of them together into a single pane. So that is truly a hybrid approach. But at the same time, there may be instances where vast majority, if not all of your automations are running on web or web applications or some legacy applications or running on Citrix or on terminal screens and all. For all those scenarios, you might be better suited with a as-is migration approach, where essentially you take in an automation file from your existing vendor, use some toolkit to transform into Power Automate Desktop, and then take it from there. So, which is a good segue where I want to talk to. We want to talk to. I'll let James speak to in a minute. But what we want to highlight is that if you are taking that approach, we have developed a set of SDK which is available in a private preview that certain of our partners have used to really enable migration of this as-is approach. And I want to highlight that one of our partners called Blueprint, they've actually developed a full-fledged automation migration toolkit based on this particular SDK that is available and which is available for wider consumption for enterprise needs. So with that, I'll hand it back to Akansha to talk further about what we have on the migration.
Perfect. Thank you, Rakesh. And thank you for walking us through the guidance and the white paper. So as you know, migration is not complete with just the guidance and systematic implementation methodology. It's also important to have the right tools. And for this, I would like to invite my colleague James to talk about the tools available from both Microsoft and our third-party partners. James, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Akansha. We, as Microsoft, we're all about RPA democratization. And as Akansha mentioned, transitioning is never easy without the appropriate tools. So for this reason, we created a dedicated tool for migrating our own customers from the soft automotive days. You can find the link in your screen, which will lead you to download the Process Migrator for soft automotive products. This is a lift and shift approach for every legacy automation processes created with either Win Automation or Process Robot, which were both offerings from Softomotive. We have also created Flow Builder SDK, as we call it, which is a more developers approach to creating a flow. We essentially, by utilizing this SDK, we allow users to create their own Power Automate for desktop flows through C#. A good example of utilization for migration is the one implemented by our partners at Blueprint, which they utilize this SDK to create a migration platform from third-party vendors.
And this, James, lets you migrate, like, let's say, script, like your actions, and convert one action from one tool to the other, so you can start using it.
The Flow Builder SDK is essentially that. It builds a flow. But you could do it through visual scripting, through Power Automate for desktop, because this is our low-code offering. But you could also do it through C# using the Flow Builder SDK. Let me stress out here that this is still in a private preview phase, and partners can access it through the link you can find in the screens below. Now, regarding the Blueprint offering, this is a SaaS offering that utilized some intermediate language they created, which communicated with our SDK and produced flows.
So simply put, like, either partners can build using this SDK and help other customers migrate from other RPA solutions to Power Automate, or more specifically, like Blueprint is a practical example of how a partner has gone ahead, used this SDK, and now is sort of helping customers migrate from other RPA offerings to sort of Power Automate. So then this just sort of helps customers accelerate their migration sort of journey. Like as we all said, it's very painful. There's a human aspect where there's change management, and these tools, like this toolkit or this SDK, will just help customers accelerate their migration journey itself. So that's pretty cool. It's good to have guidance, but tools is, I think, what makes it more easier to sort of solve the problem if at possible. We saw a lot of updates in this episode. Any final thoughts, folks, before we wrap up this episode?
Thank you, Pranav, for having us. One last thing I'd like to mention is that we also have service providers in the market that are able to actually implement this in a complete package. So use the white paper, use the existing tools, and work with our ISVs in order to make migration possible for you. For example, we have Avanade and Cognizant that are able to do this, but we also welcome other partners and to leverage the SDK, to leverage the white paper, and make migration possible for our customers.
Great. So then you have customers and partners. So we've produced a lot of content with guidance and tools around setting up an automation COE for RPA. Now we have the migration guidance white paper and the toolkit as well. So there is no reason then to shy away and from start scaling RPA in your organization. So looking forward to what you can do with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.